Okay, so I did promise I'd be doing some videos on the subject of Christianity in general and basically seeing it for what it really is and hopefully trying to promote a slightly more with it rational, important, practical way rather than the way in which it's been sold. Obviously if you turn on your TV to one of those charismatic evangelical TV channels, you get people talking as if they accept what they believe 110%. Why do they do that? Because they're paid to, okay? It's their job to talk as if we're talking about a hard and fast truth. These people are the salespeople for the ideology of the culture. Quick reality check for everybody out there, and I mean everybody out there. Religions aren't true, okay? That's one thing that you've always got to remember. But they are a truth in inverted commas, and the idea of truth in inverted commas as opposed to true as in factual are two completely different things. Alright? There are seeming purposes of being a part of a religious culture, and there are some benefits you can get from it. So it's a question of working out things for yourself. And the more people that I personally come across in my local area who are associated with religion, in this particular case Christianity, aren't necessarily people who are selling the literalism, but what they are selling is essentially looking into the stories to try and find something that can be beneficial to people. So essentially the books of religion, be it the Bible or the Quran or whatever it is, or the Old Testament, and or the sagas or the Vedas or whatever, that serves a role of being a culturally central text, okay, which means that you can look at it and you can disagree with it, and disagreeing with it is absolutely fine. Okay, the people who will say that it's not okay are those who are trying to either convince you to be a literalist, or those who are busy selling literalism because it's their their livelihood or their role within life and society. And that sort of person might not necessarily be the kind of person that you as an individual can actually get on with. So what precisely is this whole thing about? What is the point? What is the purpose? From a local community point of view, you do expand your social network, you meet more people who know more people, you can exchange ideas, you can converse, and because you're held together by the whole religiosity thing, because it's a place you go to once a week or more frequently than that, you meet them, you can build a relationship and a connection based upon trust with these people. And it is the religious culture which enables you to do that. You would also do other things such as eating together and all the rest of that. Because you've got the culturally central text, you can use that to help you out therapeutically, okay, which is essentially what it's all about, helping yourself out therapeutically. Why do you need that? Why? Because you're a human being. Your emotions, your thoughts, your feelings are going to carry on going up and down like crazy. So you need something to ground you, and you need something to stabilize you. Within the culture of Christianity, you've got a whole wealth of text and a whole wealth of perspectives, but it's your responsibility as a human individual to look at the various ideas, work out which ones are okay, which ones aren't okay, which you feel comfortable with, which you don't feel comfortable with, and then go with the stuff you feel more comfortable with. But also question why you feel more comfortable with something so that you can try and grow beyond that and grow through that. Are there some particular or specific concepts within Christianity which are separate from any other religion? Possibly, but probably not. And I say probably not because there is such a diversity of opinion. Christianity is not one particular thing. You don't necessarily have to have one particular faith perspective. And also the interpretations of even things such as the creed is very broad and very diverse, and is also not taken literally. Remember, I personally come from a church in which the rector, namely the person who had a very high rank in the local church community between our, couple of churches. Actually did some preaching one time, held up a copy of the Bible and said, you can't take this literally, you've got to see this more like a poem and try and find some intentional meaning there, or intentional positive emotional meaning there, and learn to work with that. Okay, remember, he was standing up, doing the whole sort of like microphone thing and talking to the whole congregation, saying you can't take this thing literally. So if you can't take it literally, what kind of purpose is there to, let's say, the story of creation? Well, the word ascribe is used an awful lot in the Bible, which is to give this hypothetical concept called God, okay, certain particular key attributes. Alright? And not only are there specific things which you can ascribe, which is mentioned in the Bible, such as loving kindness, there's also entire stories of text which are parts of ascribing something to the higher power concept, personal higher power concept. There are other benefits to having your own personal higher power concept, and there are even those people out there who will say they don't believe in God, who probably still have something which they hold dear in one particular way, which may have that kind of effect upon their mind in terms of, or in terms of their life, in terms of values to live by, or in terms of something which either provides comfort or strength, or is something which is good for them somehow. So pretty much everybody probably has some form of higher power concept in some manner or other. But the ones used in religion has some particular healing or therapeutic benefits, which is one of the reasons why religion can be good if it's interpreted in a good way and if it's used in a good way, which you have to work out for yourself, not through listening to other people and other preachers, but to get yourself educated, find things out, work out how you as an individual operate, and work out whether there's something, let's say, in the texts or indeed in the mind-altering exercises of faith, which includes things such as prayer and meditation, which can find a way of helping you. So Christianity is just yet another personal spiritual path which you can use for your benefit if you see fit. Okay? And yes, there are Christians who are real silly billies and who will try and terrify you into taking this, that and the other seriously. But remember, during the time when I was involved in paganism, there were people who called themselves pagans but who didn't actually take the belief of their particular denomination of paganism 100% seriously or 100% literally, and instead they just saw the story as being a culturally central story, and they looked at it kind of like from underneath rather than from on top, if that's the right phrase. Probably isn't, but from a different point of view, rather than this is the fact, this is the law, this is the truth, as in solid literal truth, this is it, accept it, boom, there you go. Because that wasn't useful to those people at that time, and that way of thinking really isn't useful to many people because it just stops thought. One thing I will say in a kind of defense of the evangelical preachers on television as well as on the internet is that there is a motivational aspect to the way in which they do communicate, which could possibly be therapeutically useful to some people. But I'm also of the opinion that overexposure to too much in the way of energetic preaching, shall we say, is probably psychologically detrimental. So a balance between your secular life and your personal spiritual life will probably be something that's worthwhile. And I'll say something else on the subject in a subsequent video. Keep cool, everybody.